Hello from Denver, Colorado, side of the Western Conference Final. Oilers down 2-0 against the Colorado Avalanche. That's a late night podcast start for you folks, but we're going to leave it in because we don't edit here on Got Your Back, and it is brought to you proudly by DLR Vinyl Products. Nobody puts in wood windows or siding anymore, so why would you build a wood fence or deck? Do it once with high-quality, maintenance-free vinyl. You can call my brothers, Rick or Rob, at DLR Vinyl. They have locations in both Calgary and in Edmonton. It's great backyard products, maintenance-free, no staining, no sanding. Put it in, put your feet up, relax, and enjoy. That's what I can't wait to get home and do on my maintenance-free deck from DLR Vinyl Products. All right, time to check in with the boys, TRyan out east, and Jason Strudwick. People don't know this, but you guys are having your first fight as a couple here. Like, Yar, what's going on with Struds? He's been ghosting you. Is this what ghosted. I hear?
Well, I think on this very program, if you want to go back and check, at least a week, maybe two ago, I asked Struds to be a member of, or a guest on my podcast.
I recall.
You were nice enough to do, Ryan.
I was,
and I appreciate that. That's for only $200.
I got your back, buddy.
I got a deal for that one. Thank you. And anyway, Struds said no. He said no. He didn't say no. He said yes. And I haven't heard anything back. And my exact, hey, Struds, would you like to come on my podcast? Finally, let's get it done. Nothing. Crickets.
Struddy.
Okay. This was the night that he went. This was all the way back when he went to a game with Jamie McLennan. And I'm listening to it and I'm being ghosted as I'm listening to Overdrive the next day, hearing about all the fun that they had at the game. And then he comes on here hungover. And I'm just assuming that he's going to answer. He didn't. And I said, hey, okay, joke's over. Let's do it, Struts. Are you ready this week? Nothing. I've got nothing back whatsoever. Nothing. So today I called Old Faithful. I thought I was going to get a text back. I figured, so I just tossed it out there. I said, let's just get it done Thursday. Yeah. Crickets. I'm sure he knows this as we're speaking.
I don't. I haven't got one text.
TRyan Sandwith was nice enough. Yeah. And I was going to go, you know what, in a week from now, but now you're going to have to wait because next week, Joaquin Gage, the guy who I basically called down to the mud, is coming on. Yeah. He decided to get back to me, and Struds still hasn't.
You might get pushed into the off season, buddy.
Well, first things first, I got a text from the 3 gyms from Shoresy to do their podcast. So that was a priority. I said, TR can wait, obviously. But number 2, buddy, I haven't got one text from you. I am really good about getting back to text. Maybe not right away, but I always respond. Usually what I do is they build up during the day, then I answer them when I'm doing the Gregor show between 3 and 5. And I haven't got one text from you. So you could have, I'm on Twitter, we follow each other. On the Facebook, we follow each other. I have a hockey email address. You have my email address. So it's 4 ways you could have got me. I'm not ghosting you. I want.
Are you a 13-year-old girl? Isn't the first way text message or actual phone? But I get it if you didn't actually get the text. But maybe there is a possible out for you because I don't know how I got your number because of those things. If I had contacted you or the other way around briefly over the last number of years, it would have been that way. But I really don't know. Maybe it was. I remember I went on the Gregor show like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I have your number for some reason, and Rishaug didn't give it to me. So maybe
I like this. I like this tension that's been created here between you two. Like we were all getting along way too good before on this podcast. Yeah. Now there's a little tension, little anger, little animosity.
And you're on edge too because of all that crappy food you've been eating.
I know. Yeah, these are cracked pepper harvest snaps I've been forced to eat because the media meal was. I had a tough time with it tonight, but I like this. Hey,
everybody that watched that game had a tough time.
Oh, I know. Hey, who would have won in a scrap if you two ever fought back in junior? Like,
how did that not happen in the same?
What would that look like?
I looked at old articles. I just jumped in there, Struds, but I don't know. Like you would think, because everybody back then. I mean. Everybody like Jason Holland, I had no problem with. I fought him. I had no problem with Brad Lukowicz. He's a friend. I fought him like 5 times. Right? You come across every defense, but for some reason.
Yeah, I was too busy shutting down David Lankow. I was out there. I was like, if I shut him down, it was closing the door on you too.
You know what I love about this? That you don't know that's really fortunate that you said that, because I actually took a picture today as I was back. I was walking through my parents cleaning out their my old toy box and stuff. No joke. In a spare room, they're making some room, and there was some articles. And I looked, And it did say that in the article. It said Jason Strudwick, whose job is to shut down TRyan and Damon Lankow and company. 2 paragraphs later, and I highlighted it. Ryan and
That's
Lankow
awesome.
responded with 2 goals and 1 assist, and 1 goal and 2 assists, respectively.
It must have been when I wasn't on the ice.
We took him 6. Pavel Kreis, who didn't even want to be in the playoffs, scored to force a game 6 in overtime, and then we got our asses kicked.
Oh boy, here we go. I fought Jason Holland too. He was my first ever hockey fight.
Hey, what's up with this? I'm looking at your tag in the 95-96 Western Hockey League yearbook, and it says 109 points or some shit. 109 points.
Oh, that was in midget, or maybe midget,
Still,
or I don't know, whatever.
I mean, you know,
no, it was fine.
It's good. That's a lot.
It was exaggerated. We had coaches that really wanted us to help us out, so I think they ballooned our statistics a little bit when they sent out the scouting packages.
I'll tell you what statistics were ballooned, and I'll tell you how I did it. Somehow I know you're bigger than me, but when I look at that, it says I'm 6'2", I think 205. Do you know what I did? I was in the 180s and I was 6 foot. But when Central Scouting, I couldn't believe how easy this was. Central Scouting came, I'm sitting with Brent Ashcroft and Damon Lankow. Yeah. And the guy comes in and he's waiting in the other room. And the scale is there, and whatever else they did. It wasn't just the height and weight, but they did a few other things. And I'm going, what? So I put on my long socks and I put big foam bits in the bottom of them. Like I had 2-3 inches. I was like, I'm too tall. Like everybody knows I'm not taller than Byron Briscoe. I had to shave a little bit off, man. I was like 6'6". So I was like, okay. At the end, it was obvious. And then I went down 6'2". I'm like, God, man, are they going to buy that? And I put weights on my groin, like the weights that go on the barbell. I taped them onto my groin. So I was like trying to keep weight on that year. I was like 181, 6 foot. And on the thing, it's like big power forward because I had lots of penalty minutes. 6'2", 205, TRyan. Everybody got a kick out of it. And you could just lie. And that probably, like no one ever looked into it. And for something that's so important on draft day, I found that bizarre that you could just easily do it.
Yeah, guys would put sugar packs in their socks to jack themselves up.
I just tried to drink as much as I could. I bloated myself with water so badly. It was awful. And I don't know that it did anything. Yeah, it was a dumb idea. Yeah.
Well, I've never heard that one. Where were you going with that? You figured you'd just drink water weight the night before?
No, like right before I weighed in, I literally filled my stomach with water as much as I could drink, just trying to get every, because I was right. I think I was right between 179 and 180, and I just wanted to get to 180. Just wanted to get there.
Wow. 3 years later, it was totally different. I remember going home, and then all of a sudden you just blimped up. Now it was like shaving weight off, going to the sauna last minute, just everything.
I know. Okay, enough of this nonsense. Oiler fans are sitting here like pulling their hair out, feeling nothing but stress and angst and agony after back-to-back losses on the road to the Colorado Avalanche. So let's break it down, fellas, for Park Mazda, where the newly redesigned 2022 CX-5 has arrived. You can check out the brand new all-wheel drive sport design trim with its turbocharged engine and see the available colors and trims in stock at parkmazda.ca. I drive a CX-5. I love it. Lots of power on the highway, good gas mileage. It's been a great vehicle for me for the last few years. Okay. I thought the Oilers did an okay job, Struds, of getting through the first period. They had to kill a few penalties. They got themselves into some tight spots, but they were okay after one. And then a little 2-minute window happened in the second period where they just came unbuckled and were chasing it pretty much the rest of the night after that.
Yeah, let's just give a big picture. I want to give a big picture breakdown. I didn't think the Avs looked like a team that I believe could win a Stanley Cup in the first game. And then tonight, I saw it. I saw a team that specifically in the second and third, they completely took the game over. Their speed, their detail, their back checking, the inability of the Oilers to get shots kind of, to the net, much less get on the inner side, just get, shots to the net. Their big guys all stepped up tonight. I thought Makar, McKinnon, Rantanen, which is scary for an Oilers fan. That guy gets going on that line. And Kadri was an absolute beast tonight. Not probably of all the guys I just mentioned, the slowest skater, but he had an impact on the game. So tonight, the Avs to me looked like a team that I believe could win the Stanley Cup. And unfortunately for Oilers, they couldn't climb that ladder, TR.
Yeah, I thought the Oilers looked discombobulated at times. I like real worrisome stuff. How about those line changes? Was it just me, or were there some real poor line changes with like guys like Makar like skating with the puck? And I mean, just obvious 101, like human instinct errors. Like, like pick up your guy. I don't know. They didn't look ready. I found, and you're not going to keep elevating the whole way through. Like let's just say the Oilers forwards, McDavid's on a roll, Draisaitl, right? They're breaking records. That's not going to keep, that can't stay on the incline, or else they'll just win the Stanley Cup 10-0. There has to be, right? There are peaks and valleys.
Right.
But what I saw tonight is they looked defeated at times. Like they had a power play late, and Draisaitl tried a few things that were like real wishes at best, like some no-look passes. And that happens when you're really tired and you start to get a bit defeated. And you get, when the goalie's just, sometimes you squeeze your stick and maybe you're getting all kinds of chances, it's not working, and you just start, it's like a sign of subconscious, not quitting. I don't want to say that word, but definitely subconscious defeat in some level. So, but now it's nice. They're coming back. If I'm them, like you said, you could lose 3-2 in overtime or 4-0. What's the difference? They definitely have proved that they're a different team, but I don't want to say alarming, but there's things that I saw tonight defensively that were exhibition-like.
Yeah, I will use the word alarming, but I won't use it so much for, I'll use it for the Colorado Avalanche. If you're the Edmonton Oilers, you need to be alarmed at how good Colorado is. That was an absolute clinic. Completely owned the middle of the ice, completely owned everything off the rush, completely owned the neutral zone. Edmonton could get absolutely nothing going with any sort of jam or juice offensively. Like that shot total, that was absolutely flattering. I didn't see what the finals were, but I know after 2 periods, the slot shots were like 15-5 Colorado. The rush chances were a whole pile to not very much. I just thought that was a clinic that Colorado put on start to finish in that game. And with Pavel Francouz in nets, this backup goaltender, I thought, he had a pretty easy night. Like he made some nice saves. I don't want to take anything away from him, Struds, but they played an absolutely brilliant defensive game, owning the middle of the ice in a way that if you're the Oilers, I mean, I don't know what the solution is, but that was an absolute clinic. And it is alarming if you're the Edmonton Oilers to watch how well the Colorado Avalanche can play. That was next level.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I expected in game 1 from Colorado, right? They're going to shut down or limit the big guys, right? And then if you take off the top 2 guys, it kind of it filters through the lineup. But how many times did we see the Oilers really challenging Frankie as they're talking about in that? I didn't really see it that many. I mean, maybe a couple in the first period, but they weren't like unreal saves. They weren't like, I thought Smith had to make some pretty good saves in the first period. But
even on their power play study, like the shots that were coming in, he had to look at all of them. Yeah,
it's funny. Like I thought the Avs did a really good job of keeping their box really tight and their sticks in the lanes all the time. The Oilers, they love to kind of zip it through the line, or McDavid does that thing where he walks to the middle and slides it back to Draisaitl. When the one shot Draisaitl took off one timer, his foot was pretty much touching the wall, right? And that's a tough shot, TR. So I honestly, I think we can beat the Oilers up here, but I'm taking a look at the Avs and saying the Oilers could not climb up. They could not get there tonight with the way those guys played, and they played really, really well. And their goalie didn't have to, because it was such a, like every time the Oilers got the puck, there was someone on them. And if you look at those 3 goals, it was pressure. Pressure every time led to those 3 goals. The first 3 goals, I should say.
TR, I mean, the distance between the 2 teams that it looked like was there tonight. I mean, that was a huge gap in quality of play between those 2 teams tonight.
Yeah, it's depth. That's like it seemed to me. Colorado don't seem to have many weak links, do they?
Oh.
And I don't know if I want to point anybody out on Edmonton as being a weak link, but I don't know. Like I'm looking at Colorado. My buddy Alex Newhook, shout out St. John's, Newfoundland, but he's barely getting in the lineup. That's his 4th game in the playoffs, and he's flying. I have to think that, whatever his comparable is on the Oilers, he outplayed him tonight. Like it just seems to me that the depth is showing, and the speed, the power. It almost looked like a midget team against a Bantam team at times. And yeah, that is quite alarming if you want to use that. And what's scary is that they didn't seem to have that Oilers bounce back. This was the bounce back game, and then they got scored on first. Now because they're a bounce back team. So they didn't bounce back in the game. They didn't bounce back after any goal, and they seemed to be more frustrated than anything. So that's tough. Again, you're coming back to a raucous crowd, but that's tough.
Struds, 16:39 on the ice for Kadri tonight. Felt like he played 26 minutes. 3 assists, 4 shots, 8 shot attempts, won 8 out of 15 draws, 53%. This is their second line center just being an absolute beast in 16, just under 17 minutes.
He's probably their top 6 forward. I think he's their slowest guy. He is the perfect second line center because he can score, he can be physical, he can do all those types of things. But he doesn't have the speed, maybe a number 1. But he's an excellent second line center. It's interesting hearing him after the game though. He singled out TRyan Lehkonen and how that guy gets in on the forecheck and creates. And the second goal is a perfect example of that. Darnell Nurse gets it, kind of shovels his problems over to his partner, Cody Ceci. Boom, TRyan Lehkonen hit. And now it's on. Now everyone's scrambling around. Derek Ryan's in the corner. Everyone's trying to figure out what's going on. Archibald squeezed down. Puck goes up to Manson. Goal. It's just, that's how quick it can happen. And we saw that from the Oilers in the second and first series, right? They would get on that forecheck and get contact. And this series, it feels like the Avs defense would make a play and then there's contact, right? So they have time to do what they want. And yeah, I'll take the hit after I make the play. I don't care. I know it's coming. But it's when a guy gets the puck and you meet him there at the same time, that's where the problems happen. And the Oilers aren't able to do it. So I didn't really answer your question, but I just think that it's everybody doing their thing and the pressure that these guys are feeling, specifically the D-men. They've got happy feet right now.
I want to talk about Ryan Nugent-Hopkins here because, and we'll get to McDavid and Draisaitl, but we just spent a minute there talking about Kadri, a second-line center, and the impact that he's had so far, the impact that he had tonight. So Jay Woodcroft decides to split up Nugent, McDavid, and Draisaitl, right? Because he wants Jared Bednar to have to choose who are you going to play Makar and Taves against. And if it's going to be McDavid, and it was, that means that frees up one of your other superstars, and that's Leon Draisaitl. But Leon Draisaitl isn't healthy. So he throws him on the second line, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is on that second line with him. Basically, Nugent-Hopkins is acting as the second line center. Didn't move the dial one iota tonight. That's as ineffective a game as I've seen Nugent-Hopkins play in a long time, and this was a big, important game. So on one hand, you got Colorado's second-line center making all kinds of plays and impacting this game. There was one shift, Nugent-Hopkins, I think he gave it up twice on the wall and then lost coverage on a guy in the slot. He was just nowhere near the level of intensity that's required for a third-round kind of must-win game. And they need Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to find a way to affect a game like that tonight because McDavid's dealing with Makar and Taves. That's a mess. Leon Draisaitl's playing injured. What's next, right? At least Evander Kane was skating around hitting people. Zach Hyman had an off night tonight as well. We'll kind of lump him in there too. But I think it's fair to point the finger at Nugent-Hopkins and say, it's not always about McDavid and Draisaitl. He needed to get something done tonight from that perch, and he got nothing done, TR.
Yeah, he kind of looked unsure of himself or almost injured. And I don't think he is, right? I mean, everybody's injured to some degree.
Maybe.
In hockey playoffs. But he looked like that, no?
Yeah.
And I found, I've said it all playoffs. The Oilers can go real cold and getting it out of their own end. Like it's poison. Sometimes it gets caught in there and they're just peewee plays. And like you said, look at the other side, Kadri, which, and I'm not pointing out what he did right. It's almost what I notice about Kadri this whole playoff, but tonight a few times where he normally would go crazy, he seemed, wait for this, composed.
Yeah, love it.
I agree.
Great comment.
That is, again, another, you can hit Kadri. He's up, he's down, he's hot, he's cold. It seems that he's really caught fire here and he's caught momentum and he's composed. And that's scary if I'm the Oilers as well. But you're right. If he's playing like that, then you need Nugent-Hopkins to be some kind of difference maker to some degree. And he just did a whole lot of nothing.
Struds, what are you seeing out of Connor McDavid, who, by the way, actually, you know what? Let's hold there for 1 second. Let's go to the Average Joe sound box here, first and foremost. Average Joe's on Baseline Road in Sherwood Park. It's a great spot to watch the game. It's right next to Home Depot. It's Average Joe's on Baseline Road in Sherwood Park. Struds, I believe we have a clip. I asked Jay Woodcroft a question tonight about Nate McKinnon And this is the one, correct? And he redirected towards Nazem Kadri. So Zuby, fire that clip of me asking about Nate MacKinnon and his 11 shots and where the head coach took it.
I think Nathan MacKinnon had 11 shots on you guys tonight. When he gets going, he looks tough to stop. What do you need to do to try and get in this guy's way a little bit?
Yeah, I actually thought the Kadri line was the one that was more productive for them. That's not taking anything away from 29's shots on net total. It'd be interesting to see how many of those were on the power play. We were short 7 times.
What do you think, Struds?
Yeah, well, I think the coach put you in your place. No, just kidding. No, just kidding.
Thanks for picking that one, buddy.
No, I you know what, it wasn't you. It's just that I felt Kadri was the player of the game. Like, I really thought he was all over the ice and facilitating the game for other people. You know, he sets up Manson for a great slap shot in the middle. On the 2-on-1, he sets up Mikko Rantanen perfectly. And I love the way that TR framed it. He looks so composed out there. He's just playing the game, right? He's just doing his thing. But he's a big difference maker for that. And listen, for MacKinnon, keeping track and pushing back against McDavid is hard. Like, those are 2 superstars going at it. And if at the end of the night, those 2 have sawed off for the Avalanche, that's a win. That's a real win for Jared Bednar, because you've got other guys that can score. You know, whether it's Makar or Manson scoring tonight, or you got Mikko Rantanen on the second line. That's 2 goals in a row, guys, in 2 games. That guy is one of my favorite players in the league. So you still have Nazem Kadri, who had a ton of points. What did he end up? Top 5 in the scoring this year. I forget exactly what, but that is a handful, that second line. So I think Kadri was the story. TR, and we can kick around the other guys who didn't do things for the Oilers, but I said it before this series. Kadri versus Nuge was going to be a huge part of the series, and so far it hasn't worked out for the Oilers. Yeah. That's a tall matchup for anybody.
Yeah, you already made the point, TR, about the composure that Kadri's playing the game with. By the way, I'll answer the coach's question. 6 of the 11 shots were on the power play, so fair point by Jay Woodcroft. 5 even strength shots for Nate MacKinnon. I still think Nate MacKinnon was all over that game. He was dominating. He was powerful. He was blazing all over the ice. Kadri had a good game. Nate MacKinnon is otherworldly right now. So I'll defend the question to a degree, but fair point by Jay Woodcroft. TR, what are you seeing out of Connor McDavid here?
Oh, I think sometimes I love the spunk, but I think he's almost, dare I say, hitting too much. Or some of those hits, the one in front of the bench where he decked the guy. Yeah, I don't know who it was. He's leading with, like, I've hurt my sternum doing that. Like, he's going out of his way to leap into people. And look, I find it hard here to spit out actual words that say someone's being too physical. I love that I love it in this game, but I love his spunk. He was trying. I mean, he made some poor decisions, and like I said, at times, and he goes for the rush, and it might have just slipped off his stick, and it was like, just almost. And I think sometimes that got to him a little bit, especially even at the end. The questions at the end, when you asked him, he didn't really answer it, right? Like, because you asked him something about being bottled up by the opposition, and they were. There is something different that they're doing, and they're, dare I say, they're just better. And the further you go into playoffs, the better the competition gets. They're faster, and they can mark him better, and they're angling him off, right? They're angling him to the outside, which is hard to do, and he still usually takes the outside, and he can get to the net, but he can't do it. A couple times they're early, right? Now it's in the corner, and they go the other way, and that's a lot of energy expended for nothing. A lot of the time, at least he'll get a shot, or he'll pass it, and there'll be a save, but there's been momentum gained. But if anything else, it was just blah, right? And went the other way, and that can defeat you. And then you go out of your way and say, well, I'm going to try hard and hit everything, but I just wouldn't want to see him get injured, right? So you're asking me specifically what I thought of McDavid. The try was there. You make some mistakes. Everybody has an off game, and for him, an off game means like 6 end-to-end rushes, and it just wasn't what it normally is.
But just to jump over top of there, so Chair, like when he's talking about angling McDavid off to the side, that gives the D-man a lot of comfort to stand up, because he doesn't have the normal speed he does, because he's been slowed down by squeeze aside. So now if he does get by that guy, the D-man is not dealing with 100 miles an hour Connor McDavid, maybe a 50 mile an hour Connor McDavid. But remind you, they have Makar and Taze out there, 2 guys in the league that probably aren't worried about his speed. So if he's not going full speed and you have 2 really fast D-men back there, it just makes the job easier and harder for McDavid. So, they've done a good job. And I think when they look into game 3, they've got to find a way to get McDavid out there, not win Makar and Taser out there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Those guys have done a phenomenal job on Connor McDavid. And it's not like they've had to be overly physical on him. It's not like they've run him out of the rink. They have just been smart with their sticks, smart with their backtracks. And it's getting into McDavid's head. I'm telling you, there were a couple times where he hit the blue line with speed, you guys, when he looked up and he had the speed advantage and he saw Devon Toews standing there and he doubted. And rather than driving the net, he circled. Yeah. When you start to see players with McDavid's speed hit that line with the speed advantage and circle back and wait for help, he's not being the aggressor in those situations, because earlier on in the game, right, he hit the Jets and tried to, and Cale Makar just knocked it off his stick into the corner and the rush was over. So now you're second guessing. And I just see McDavid not being the aggressor in this matchup. And these guys are doing a fantastic job on him. And now it's on everybody else. I thought there were some other outside of Nugent Hopkins. Vander Kane kind of had a strange night. Some penalties and stuff late. He was trying to hit and stuff, but I don't think he looked very good. And even Zach Hyman was kind of ineffective tonight, Strudwick.
I think the word I'd use was, you didn't really notice him, right? And usually Zach Hyman's a guy you notice with his tenaciousness on the puck. He's on the puck and winning puck battles, but I didn't really see that from him. Kane, I think, was just trying to get things stirred up especially towards the second half of the game. He's trying to stir it up, and I actually kind of like it. He's running Makar, see if he can get him off his game a little bit. There wasn't really much going on, but I really think, and I don't want to get too much on this bandwagon, I think you got to give full marks to the Avs. They did not let the Oilers get into their rhythm, especially of that first period. They go through the first period. The Oilers have that huge kill 5-on-3. Just before that, though, Puljujärvi misses a golden opportunity in front.
Just missed the net.
Golden opportunity. And I've been saying it all year. Like we can say that Puljujärvi works hard and gets the pucks, but it was going to kill them when he missed the chance. And that was his chance to score. Like, how many good chances better than that did they have tonight? I don't know if there's I don't remember any. Now there might've been, but that's a golden opportunity. He has to score there. He scores there, they might get out of that period 1-0. And we're talking about a different game here, right? But that's where Puljujärvi's game has to get to. Those have to be buried. But they kind of got in there, and then you get into the second period and those 3 quick goals, and that's it. The game's over. And now they're coming back to Edmonton, probably wondering what's going on, how they're going to change it around. And I think there'll probably be some line changes, some lineup changes. And probably I'm guessing he goes 11-7. Maybe bring Holloway in, and then play the hell out of their big guys away from Cale Makar and Toews.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with that. Play him away from those guys. You have the home crowd. Maybe they'll have a little bit more space. I got to bring up, there's a lot of similarities. I'm going somewhere with this. I was watching, I throw on the old classic games once in a while. So I was doing some work here this afternoon, actually yesterday afternoon. And I was watching one of the old games that the Oilers played the Islanders. Now this is different because, again, that was a little where Gretzky and company were coming in under different circumstances, and I believe it was the final. Yeah, it had to be the final. But I know, looking at the stats, I can't remember that whole playoff, who played who, but looking at the stats, Gretzky had one of those Gretzky playoffs, right? He was getting all kinds. I think it's one of the years that McDavid just tied the record or whatever it was, 10 or 13 games in a row with multiple. But same thing. And you can hear Bob Cole saying, he's like, wow, this is a different defense now. And Potvin comes over and it's like 5-1. And you see that Gretzky doesn't know what to do. Like, cause I mean, one of the most underrated skaters I've ever seen. People say Gretzky couldn't skate. He's a bullet, but he was totally contained. And then I just happened to turn on and I said, oh, there's some similarities here, because we're not used to seeing McDavid wind up, which he did a few times, and get totally bottled off, right? Like Struds explained it earlier, but it's almost like, whoa, like, and I know the odds are always with the D, but he usually breaks free and does something, even if it doesn't go in, something happens. And it didn't. So I just thought there are similarities. Now, of course, they probably end there. It's 40 years ago, but what do you do when you're a superstar? It's Wayne Gretzky and company. What did they do eventually? But you asked me about McDavid. I expect them to come back with a super duper game, like a 4-point type of a night. And you asked me in the last series, were Calgary out? No, I don't think the Oilers are out. I think they're going to come back and be fired up. Well, they have to be, but it's going to be one of those games. I think they'll miss Yamamoto for a game at home because he's 160 pounds soaking wet, but he runs around and he definitely gets momentum going. But
did you guys have an issue with that hit? TR, what did you think of that hit?
I didn't really rewind. I would have tried to make the same. I didn't slow it down and look at it. I would have tried to make the same thing. I don't think it was that dirty. It was an opportunity to make a hit. Landeskog, was it?
Yeah, it was Landeskog. Yeah.
Struddy, what did you think?
I didn't slow it down.
I don't know. I mean, I know the coach, Jim Micah Woodcroft. I don't know. I don't think I don't think he'll get anything for it.
Yeah.
Fine or suspension. I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's playoff hockey, and you just go on. I
Word from Dregs tonight. I was on set tonight shooting some stuff with Dregs, and he can often get an early answer out of the Department of Player Safety, and it sounded like they were going to take a look, but that they weren't necessarily thinking it was anything to be massively concerned about. If the Avalanche play that way again, Struds, do the Oilers have a game? Do they have a game that can beat that game Colorado threw out tonight, you think?
I think they did because they showed in the first period tonight, right? I mean, to be fair, I thought the Avs got better in the second and third. But in the first period, I thought they played with them, right? Mike Smith was playing well. They had the chance to score Puljujärvi, but they have to be so solid with their puck management. And I keep coming back to those 3 goals. 3 goals in, let's call it 2 minutes, just to keep the math easy. And it was like a mismanagement by Nuge, mismanagement by Nurse, and then Evander Kane not recognizing the moment and pinching, creating a 2-on-1, and then some bad line changes mixed in there, right? Like it's those are simple things. Like it's not like it's not like it's a 1-on-1 of McKinnon against Nugent Hopkins. Like these are things where the Oilers had. In both scenarios, they had puck control both times in the first 2 goals. In the third one, all Nurse or all Canada do is just back off. And I know it's playoff hockey, but these have been things you've been talking about all year. So those 3 moments are, you want them back. Like I'd be sitting here thinking tonight, as I flying back to Edmonton or whenever they're flying back tomorrow, I guess, like what the hell just happened? Like we gave them those 3 goals. How many did the Avs really earn? I think all 3 were gifted by the Oilers.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I got to push you a little bit on the one with Kane on the wall there. I agree. He needed to recognize, but why was Evan Bouchard finishing a check at the offensive hash mark?
Yeah. So it looked
why
like
did he chase in there to do that? What was the point of that?
As I remember, I think he was in front of Kane. So he decided he was going to go in there. And then Kane decides to hold the blue line. And when you look up, TR, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I look up and I see a defenseman in front of me in the ozone, I've got to back off. I don't know where my buddy is. Then Duncan Keith is changing, probably a bit slow there. Nurse has got to get on quicker, but people are blaming Darnell Nurse. That's a 2-on-1. It started with Bouchard, attacking, but Kane, you cannot hold that line. You don't know what's going on around you. He has to back off. He backs off. It's a 2-on-2 because guess who scores the goal? The guy that's right behind him, Mikko Rantanen. So like 2 feet behind him is Mikko Rantanen, and that's the guy that beats him up the ice and scores the tap in from Kadri.
I agree, and I think when you asked, can they come back when after we saw a game like that? 3 reasons I would think. First of all, they scored 6 the first game, right?
Yeah.
Second of all, without just getting into all that, they scored 6. Second of all, it was just like it was bad mistakes. I said I've never seen a worse team when they're on or they're off, getting it out of their own zone. And like 3 or 4 of those plays led to goals. Were either soft in getting it over the line in one end or getting it out on the other, and it comes back to burn them again and again because they do it again and again. And those are just mistakes. It's not like they're getting beat wide because they're just not as good. I mean, I know Colorado are deeper, but the reason that they're losing is all within their own heads. And thirdly, they got a goalie that's a backup in there, and they didn't really. I mean, who knows if Puljujärvi scores that, or if they go up 2-0, it's a completely different game because they don't know. they got to rattle this guy, and we don't even know what that's like yet. So
yeah, he had an easy
maybe
night.
he gets 2 behind him, right? And then all of a sudden it's a completely different game and everybody plays different. It's also easy to play, guys. It's easy to play great when it's 3-0. And it was 3-0 for a big part of that game. Yeah. And it's really easy to play like the best superstar team ever when it's like that. Go back now. The fans are going all over the place. Get Archibald and the boys. Go crazy, kamikaze, tornado shit. Get it in the corner. Go mad. It's going to be completely different.
Yeah, the atmosphere, I mean, the Oilers will definitely play off of what it's going to be nuts back there, despite the fact that coming back, Zach Hyman put it really good after the game. He said, we just got to protect home ice. This is not ideal, guys. In a conference final, 93% of the time, you go up 2-0 and win both your games at home, and you go on to the Stanley Cup final. Odds are against them at this point, but listen, just go win a game, right? Just go home and win a hockey game. Struds, so you would make some significant or some notable changes, Struds? Like, do you really I mean, I guess there's 2 questions. Would you, and what do you think Woodcroft will do? I think there'll be some tweaks, but I don't know. I don't know if you're going to a rookie in this situation. Do you think?
Well, with Yamamoto out, I think that changes the equation. I'm going to assume that he's out. Let's just make that assumption. So who pops up into that spot, right? He's been reluctant to play Cassian more. That fourth line is barely getting. Was anyone over 7 minutes today? I don't think so.
I'll take
off the top from looking at it before. I don't remember that anyone being above that. Maybe you pop McLeod up there, but you still need a third line center. So a lot of people are clamoring for Shore to come in, but you know what? Holloway is fast, and I just see the Oilers as being a step behind. So let's bring some speed in there. Is there a history of rookies coming into playoffs and doing well? Yeah, Cole Caulfield did it last year. Yeah. Now, a little bit different player, but he was counted on to score. No one's looking at Dylan Howe and say, man, you got to score, buddy. Like, we need you. But he can bring speed and he can bring a bigger body and physicality. So I think I might be looking at him coming in. I can't believe I'm saying that. But after watching this game tonight, they need size and speed. And this guy, that's what he has. So, what's the worst thing having? You put him in and he only plays 7 minutes. You have other guys only playing 7 minutes as well.
What do you think, TR? Can a rookie handle this? I don't expect you to know everything there is to know about Dylan Holloway. I mean, he had a good year in the American Hockey League this year, battled some injuries, but he's built like a man, and he's got all kinds of speed, offensive ability. He's, hasn't had a look in the NHL yet. Is this a stage for a rookie?
100%. I'll tell you why. First of all, they're hurting back there, especially if Yamamoto's hurt, and Cassian does. I mean, sometimes he looks like he's checked out. I hate to say that. I love the way he plays when he's on, but at times it's like he doesn't know his role or so. You gotta get the game going here, So anyway, I would 100% for 2 reasons, because I genuinely think they need him. Second of all, it's a great situation. If I was a rookie, I would love this. It's like I want an underdog moment. I don't want pressure on me.
100%.
Right? I don't want that. And this seems like what could I possibly do? Like contribute to a shit show that those 2 games that, I'm looking at wily veterans go out there and play like rookies. Now I can just come in. There's no pressure on me, and I can come in and hey, maybe one goes off my foot, bounces in the net. Who knows? Maybe we win. But I know I can go out there, give it everything I got, and I can at the worst case scenario, we lose again. Best case scenario, this is my intro to the NHL, and I get huge experience for next year, win or lose.
Yeah. See, and this is what I'm thinking. Yamamoto's out. You take Archibald out. You put Holloway in, and you put Russell in. That's probably what I would do. My big boys are double shifting, they're getting some chances on different lines, like we saw against Calgary, I think, right? And I guess LA too.
So you'd play Russell ahead of Broberg, though, in this situation. I mean, you need skaters, but
a rookie defenseman, man, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it now. I'm not doing it. The forward is different. A forward, there's 3 guys behind you, 2 D and a goalie, right? They can make up for your mistake. A rookie D man, I don't know. I know Cale Makar did it, but Broberg isn't. He ain't no Cale Makar.
If I'm on the fence in the playoffs, just out of loyalty to someone who plays hard, I'd go with Russell, man. He blocks shots like nobody that I've ever seen, and it's playoffs, and it's just, sometimes you're on the fence, I'm going to go with this guy because of that,
I just think that I think that with Yamamoto coming out, it changes everything, right? It opens up a spot.
And is he out?
Well, I don't know. It's a good.
Yeah, we'll
come
see.
Back, so
yeah, we'll see. Because he came back after the hit and he played. But then they ended up pulling him at a certain point. So we're gonna assume it's as a result of that hit. They said upper body injury, but I actually like what you guys are saying. I think Russell, I agree with you, TR. I think that's a really good point in what he brings in a moment where you're kind of right up against it. You get some grit into your lineup in a way that as a seventh defenseman, it probably works. And why not throw the kid in? I mean, I know they had intentions of trying to get him into some games and maybe even using him in the playoffs. Injuries never allowed them to get him into the games they wanted to get him into. So he's as raw as it gets from an NHL standpoint. But imagine the energy that he would have, he would play the game with in that building. Imagine that being your first NHL game study and seeing that building in that moment.
He wouldn't sleep. If he finds out he's playing tomorrow, he's not sleeping. I'll tell you right now. I didn't sleep for my first NHL game, and it was at Hartford at 2:00. Like can you imagine coming back and playing in Edmonton on a conference final? So, and listen, you're not asking him to come in and change the world and save the world, but he has more speed than Shore. And from what I saw tonight, and this is no disrespect to Shore, because I was the same way. I wasn't fast enough to play in these games. And you need speed. They need speed in their lineup. You can't bring out a fast player like Archibald and put someone who's slower behind him. That's not the move.
Man,
when Archibald, when those guys are playing with speed and getting and Cashin and McLeod or Fogel or whoever it would be, whoever's out there with those guys, like they create a lot when they're going, right? When they're going, they really do. So, I mean, it's the type of hockey I'd want to play if I was a rookie. Get it in there and just because you can move your feet, right? If you're relying on to go out there and get 2 goals, which is what Cofield did. I mean, the devil is due here. He really did that. I mean, guys 5'0" and he came in the NHL playoffs and scored goals. But if I knew that my job was just to go out there and work hard, then I would absolutely love it to come to all those fans, and it would feel like it would feel very welcoming to me as a rookie.
Jay Woodcroft. I mean, he's already popular in Oiler Nation. But from the time Oiler fans found out he went in to the actual game time, he would be probably the most popular Oiler coach in the last, I don't even know how many years, because fans are clamoring for this guy to get into a game. I understand why they've been hesitant, but Struddy, you make great points. TR, you do too, as always. Wouldn't that be something to see? Great job tonight, guys. That was the breakdown brought to you by Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park off Y Road. If you're interested, you're looking to upgrade, change out your vehicle, visit parkmazda.ca, see what they have in stock. They got a great sales staff as well. Head over to parkmazda.ca on Y Road on your way into Sherwood Park. Struds, are you going to do TR's podcast? Can we commit you now? We'll just get this done now. You've got him here, TR, so you might as well jump on it.
Text me, TR.
Are you gonna answer me this time?
Yeah, just give the 3. I'll tell the 3 gyms to give you my number, and they can, because you don't have the right number, man. I never not answer a text.
Did you watch that shift I tracked down and I put on Twitter? That shift from Junior.
Yeah, I saw it.
What was it? Yeah. Wait a minute. What was this? I gotta look for this now.
Maybe I'll find something else.
What was this?
Of the sort.
I think you already have. That's what makes me nervous.
Yeah, I might have. I tell you this. I've got books and books and books. We had great booster buddies in Tri-Cities. They would.
Yeah.
One bought me a car, Dodge Lancer. I'm not kidding you. Used, but whatever.
Big bucks.
But yeah, like new stereos, like things, and they would keep scrapbooks for us, like multiple. So I have 2 huge. Every single thing that happened while I played, every single thing on and off the ice, I have stacks. And anyway, there's a lot of Kamloops stuff there. So, and I know I scored a lot of goals. So I'm going to go back and go through all the old memories and see what I can come up with.
I love it. No, and I will. I'm going to text. I don't have your number, but I think you tweeted at me. I will get it and I will text you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm going to hook you guys up. I'll start a group text between the 3 of us, and I will monitor this relationship because as the boss on this podcast and the guy in charge of our chemistry and our relationships, I can't have you guys go down the tubes. I think we've developed a pretty nice little thing here. So I'm going to monitor the chat to make sure you guys are getting along like good little employees.
Let's not make this about you. All right.
That's what
it's
he's
always
trying
about
to do.
me. It's always about me.
We know that.
You guys know this. It always circles back to your host.
I'll see what I got. I know that of the 3 of us, I have the most memories in my scrapbook for sure.
That is true.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. There were not to make it about me, next to no memories for me. Struds, you must have. Did you keep the memorabilia? You have much there?
I've got some. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess you play 600 NHL games. You have a few things kicking around.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, Mike. Is that Mike dented?
That mic definitely just dropped.
Yeah,
that definitely just dropped. That
they weren't all good ones though.
Hey, how about this, guys? By the way, can I go now? It's 2:25 a.m. and I got to get up at 6. For God's sakes, what are we going to talk about next? Ham sandwiches?
Call us when you wake up. You wake up.
Good point by you. Let's wrap this up. By the way, TR, you were whispering tonight because your daughter's sleeping in the house, right? This is why we had you didn't bring quite the same volume and energy here.
And do me a favor. Next time, I want to pick a topic. I want to know what it's like to wait at the NHL draft. Because it was so bad. I don't know I really want to know what that process is like. I keep forgetting to ask people. And Struds, we can lead with that when you come on. I don't know. We
gotta go. This is coming apart at the seams. This relationship. Love both of you guys. Great job tonight. We'll talk to you soon.
Call me, TR.
See you, boys.
Hey, Struddy, question for you. Have you ever tried putting in your own fence?
I sure have. Between digging the posts, mixing up cement and digging the holes, it's absolute killer.
It's brutal on the back. Well, listen, what if I told you you could put in a fence without having to dig a hole or mix any concrete?
I'd be much more likely to come over and help you out.
Yeah, well, you're not the first guy I would call, but thank you for that. Listen, my brother's company, DLR Vinyl Products, they've come up with a system where you can actually put high-quality vinyl fence in the ground without having to dig a hole, without having to mix any concrete. They can teach do-it-yourselfers how to do it, and they can also work with contractors who might be looking to start installing vinyl. It's super high-quality product. The great thing about it is that it has fantastic longevity. You put it in, you don't have to worry about staining or sanding or anything like that. I've been lucky enough, Struddy. They've put in multiple fences in my different yards and they've built me 3 decks. I have totally abused the fact that my family is in the fencing and decking business, but it's great product. Give Rob a call in Calgary or Rick a call here in Edmonton. This is a company my dad started. It's a family business. I'm super proud of it, and I'm very proud that they are our title sponsors. That's DLR Vinyl Products in Edmonton and Calgary.
Hey, it's Ryan Rishaug. While many are feeling the sting of inventory shortages, Park Mazda has you covered. They've got new Mazdas arriving every month, including the redesigned 22CX-5 in whatever color you're looking for. They've also got a huge selection of used vehicles with new arrivals every week and some of the most competitive interest rates on cars, trucks, SUVs, and more. Park Mazda, your dealer for life in Sherwood Park, off Y Road. Schedule a test drive at parkmazda.ca. Folks, golf season is just around the corner, and I don't know about you, but I am some kind of fired up over it. It's the perfect time to get yourself fitted for new clubs or some great new apparel. Well, DeBoers has you covered for all of it. Their facility is first class with amazing TrackMan technology in their simulators and top-of-the-field fitting specialists. You can order now for spring delivery, and they've also got a bunch of new 22 apparel for you to go check out. It's a fantastic group down there at DeBoers. The shop has a great positive feel. I highly recommend you check them out on the corner of 53rd Street and 99th Avenue. DeBoers, helping you play better golf since 1999. Average Joe's Sports Bar in Sherwood Park has proudly served the community and supported minor sports in the area for almost 20 years. It's a great gathering place for sports fans. Average Joe's has massive big screen TVs, comfortable seating, and a friendly staff waiting to make your experience anything but average. Come check it out on Baseline Road, right next to Home Depot, or make a reservation by calling 780-417-1113. That's Average Joe's on Baseline Road in Sherwood Park.
All right, folks, time now for Who's Got Your Back, brought to you by DeBoers, helping you play better golf, your local golf shop for the last 23 years. I hear the weather in Edmonton is going to be good this week. Getting on a plane and going home, can't wait to get there. Obviously going to cover a couple of hockey games, but hoping to be able to get onto the golf course a little bit, and I can't wait to stop by and see the gang down at DeBoers. Need some tees, need some balls. I'm still waiting to buy a pair of golf shoes. A couple of things I'm looking to pick up. And down at DeBoer's, they have absolutely everything that you could want for all of your golfing needs. They've got a golfing simulator. You want to work on your slice, they can help you with that. You want to work on your putting, they've got a green. If you need equipment, they've got all kinds of that. If you just want to go talk hockey, they're big time hockey fans too. So whatever you need at DeBoer's this time of year, they completely have your back. So really excited about today's guest. So a former colleague of mine at TSN who has absolutely rocketed up the ladder in his sports broadcasting career. Nabil Karim is a good friend. He's a Western Canadian, and he has paid his dues. Had a great chance to catch up with him, get a got your back story from him, and just a really, really good, solid guy. So our storyteller today, Nabil Karim from Turner Sports, formerly of TSN, presented by DeBoer's. Nabil, what's going on, man? It was great to see you the other day for the first time. And man, it had been a long time since I saw you last.
Yeah, it was. And it was funny, somebody from the TNT side, because you saw me and I was in the green room. And when I went back in, I was like, oh, I used to work with Ryan. And he was like, you look real happy to see him. And I'm like, yeah, it's been so long since I've seen Ryan, and Frank was there too, Saravalli. So no, it was a great reunion. I'm glad that, I got this series so I could see some of you guys.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's always good to see your face. You're one of the more positive guys that I've had the privilege of knowing in the industry. I've always thought that about you, Nabil, from the first time we had a chance to chat with one another. We were teammates at TSN for a long time. Always loved your positive energy, man. I was looking into you a little bit and creeping on your history a little bit. And I knew a lot about you, but I learned some things about you too. Let's go through your broadcast journey. You were actually a criminology major. But just wasn't necessarily your passion. Hey, how did you make that switch from criminology at SFU to BCIT, where, by the way, I went as well?
I know. You're a legend there.
Come on.
They talked about you all the time. Bill Amos, all the time.
Oh, that's funny.
And rightly so. We all wanted to aspire to what you did. And for me, I was just following my sister's footsteps at that time. She was doing the criminology program. She had actually finished that. She was going to law school. And I was kind of lost after high school. I wanted to do something like this. I was a little embarrassed to say it because there wasn't a lot of people who look like me in the industry. And in our community, you kind of only did a few things. And that wasn't the standard industry. It was more like law, medicine, all these other sorts of trades, but not broadcasting. And so finally I had this kind of conversation with myself. It's almost like 3 years into that program where I enjoyed it. Yeah. I love it. I enjoyed it. And I was kind of like, listen, I got to try this out. And so on the side, I started, talking to people like yourself and other people in the industry who are successful, and just to get an idea of what the path would be like. And then I finished my degree at SFU just so I had a backup. Yeah. And then I went to BCIT after that.
Crazy. Like, what did you want to do with your criminology? Like, what was your plan? What was your vision?
I didn't know. I'm really joking. I was literally, for the first year, I shouldn't say this, but, I was getting a lot of help from my sister, because she'd gone through it. The books were there, the assignments were sort of there, and so I was I didn't know what I was doing. And that's just the honest truth. And that's why I kind of knew at some point, and actually seeing what she was doing in law school after, when I was kind of inquiring, like what her lifestyle was like and coming home and studying, it wasn't for me. And so, I made a deal with my parents that if this didn't work out, like I gave myself a 5-year plan to be successful. And if it didn't work out, I'd go back to law school. I'm not sure I would have done that. I just said that to him, but
you would have broken your promise. Wow.
Yeah, probably. I didn't know what I was doing, honestly.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you followed your passion a little bit. I think we all did that to a degree. It's a bit of a leap to jump into what we do.
Yeah.
But we're passionate about it. So you follow that, you end up at BCIT. And then I also read you were at CKPG in Prince George, BC. Yes. I don't know if you know this, buddy. I put in 10 years in Prince George when I was a kid, ages 1 to 10.
Okay.
I went to Spruce Grove Elementary School, and it was, man. I put in a lot of hard winters out in Prince George. How long were you there? How did you find that?
It was a culture shock.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm a city boy, and I say city boy, like Burnaby, just kind of always kind of sheltered and done that sort of thing. Whereas we all know it's just regular city life. And then you go to Prince George, I'm on my own for the first time, new job, new surroundings. And like, I didn't even have a proper pair of boots, man. And my old boss used to tease me quite a bit there for, he was like, hey, we're not fashion here. We're about function. And he used to always tell me that. And so, it was a great place for me to learn. I definitely needed that to learn. I was a news reporter there. And so I did radio and TV there, but it was a long 9 months, but it was an experience that if I didn't have, I probably wouldn't have got my next gig.
Man. I had a stop in, I was Kamloops for a bit. Then I had my 10-month stop in Sudbury, Ontario. That's where I grinded out my just about a year before it was Saskatoon. So was it straight from CKPG to CBC then? Because I noticed you landed right at CBC, right? Where'd you go?
So I went, the position I had at CKPG was, I think, a maternity leave position. So I was going to be done in 9-10 months anyways. And then from there, I went to Winnipeg. I spent about 8 months in Winnipeg, maybe 9 months in Winnipeg also.
So your boots came in handy there.
Yes. So now, but going from like no offense to Prince George, but going from Prince George to Winnipeg feels like a huge city, right?
Yeah, that's a big market.
Yeah, for sure. And I like Winnipeg. I know a lot of people have some things to say about Winnipeg. It's cold. I don't like the weather, but nice people. I thought it was a great place to work. I was working for the Fox Soccer Report, and I did some stuff for Global TV there. Yeah. But again, from there too, like I was always thinking about what's next. Like I wanted to get my reps in. And I think, I'm sure you agree, like networking is so important in our industry. Yeah. I think there's so many people, and hopefully it's changed now, but like a lot of people just wait for like a job listing. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. Yeah. Especially if you want to be on air. Like you can't wait for a job listing. You got to go create opportunities, or at least let people know you're there. Right. Because I think we can both speak for ourselves here in a sense that like there are a lot of talented people who should maybe be doing the jobs we're doing, but maybe haven't been found or seen or whatever. Like there's always circumstances around it. So that was always my like inclination, was like, okay, update the demo. I used to go at night when everyone's gone and update the demo, and then from there I went to CBC.
Okay. Yeah. I was the same, man. I used to drive people crazy. Like there would be no job openings and I would be beating down their door being like, look at me. I know you don't have a job opening now, but one day you will. Look at me. Look at me. And, it was funny because it paid off. Like my last 2 jobs, CFR in Edmonton and then TSN, I basically didn't even interview. They basically phoned me and said, we got an opening and, come on out. So I think we were similar in
Edmonton,
that way.
By the way, sorry to interrupt, but your shop in Edmonton has pumped out some great talent. I remember
Brian Mudrick. Yeah, Brian Mudrick, Natasha Stanishevsky, Carly Agro, who's working at our friends over at Sportsnet. There have been some really good broadcasters there. Peter Labardius before that, Roger Millions, a good station. So you had to stop at CBC, and then you land the gig with TSN, and that's where we first sort of became buddies and got a chance to work together. How many years were you at TSN, and how was your time there?
TSN, probably 8 years, a little bit over 8 years, 8, 9 years.
It's a while. You did lots for us.
Yeah, when I came in, they hadn't hired anyone in a long time. So I was one of the newer faces. Like
you were the fresh blood, man. I remember. We were excited to have you.
Yeah, and it is. I remember, and I'm not just pumping your tires right now. I remember you sending me a text really early on in my time there. You didn't know who I was, obviously. You didn't have to do that. But that stuff I remember, and that stuff, I try to do now for other people.
Nice.
So I think that was, huge of you to do know
Was it like, hey man, stay out of my way? Like, I know you think you're hot
shit.
Stay
out of my lane. Stay out of my lane.
Know your role, newbie, that kind of thing. You got to keep people in their place. Yeah. Nice. That's awesome.
I remember those, and those are the small things you remember, and you hope to like pay it forward, right, with the next person. But like I was super blessed at TSN that Mark Millier took me on and gave me an opportunity and plucked me out of CBC, where I'd done a couple bigger things there, but mostly was like news updates, and then you're going to doing like a sports center that's an hour. I've never done anything like that. And when I originally got into the industry, I wanted to do what you were doing, ringside or sidelines or whatever. I never wanted to be a host, but at CBC they put me in this position to host, and I loved it. And I was like, wow, this is really cool when you get to do the panel and you get to talk to people and so forth. And I thought I was a little bit better at that. And so getting to that opportunity at TSN, I mean, they sent me around the world, to cover soccer and do things I really didn't want to do at that time. We didn't have as much manpower. But then also the opportunity to Sports Center. And just, I think the big thing for me was just working with different personalities, right? And that was really, really important and critical for me in my next step was to be able to adapt to, working with our hockey guys, with our basketball, football, whoever it may be. Some people are a little more loose, other more straight, whatever it is.
Yeah, you got to learn, man. You got to sort of learn the different people, the different personalities. You're like that traffic cop on the set. I've done lots of that, and it's definitely a unique skill set. Okay, I want to get your back story, because I know it has to kind of do with this stage in your career where you transition from doing a fantastic job at TSN with us, but you made a big, big leap south of the border, and we were all so proud of you when it happened. You ended up landing a job at ESPN. You're now with Turner. You're doing fantastic work. But give us your backstory and kind of how it helped you with that transition in your career.
Yeah. So, I would go back my last 3 years, maybe at TSN, things were going really well and you're learning. And then, I think it happens in any position you're in, really, right? When you're there for a long time, you kind of hit a bit of a rut. And there was points where I'm not gonna lie, I was like frustrated with the lack of opportunities I was getting.
Sure.
And that's fair. And that's great for other people, but for yourself, that's what it is. And for me, that affected my self-confidence, because I was like, oh, I'm not doing a good enough job. When maybe that was the case, or maybe somebody else was doing it better, whatever it is, that's what happened to me. And so it was a bit of a rut. And when we're in an industry where you're on camera all the time, people at home don't care what you're going through or what's happening. You just got to go on and be yourself and, report what we're doing. Yeah. That affected my work. And so there was two people. One, and this is the one that always surprises people, was Jeff O'Neill.
O-Dog.
Yeah, O-Dog. Who
I love it.
Yeah, we became really good friends, and it was by chance. I don't know how it really happened. We just kind of hit it off, and we spent a lot of time together. And he'd be a guy who would pull me to the side and have these conversations with me about, believing in yourself. And he would take me back into his playing days and visualizing all these sorts of things that we had these conversations. And again, people don't see that side of him. You don't see that side of him on Overdrive, but he's one of the best people I've ever met. One of the biggest hearts I've ever met. Yeah. He was one guy. That. Yeah. Of course you've seen behind the scenes, right? But he was one person for me that I could always lean on and get an honest opinion. And then secondly, it would be Sam Mitchell, who's another guy who you might not think would be that guy, but Sam is a teacher at heart, right? He's a coach. Right. And he pulled me, and I'll never forget this, he pulled me aside one time, Raptors game, pulls me aside, we're sitting courtside before everyone's there. And he's the one to say, hey, you know what? I think you should come to the States. And again, I didn't believe in myself at that time. And I'm like, I'm not good enough to be. He's like, trust me, I've worked with you. He was working at NBA TV and Turner there at that time. You're good enough. Here, put a tape together, talk to this person. And that's kind of what got the ball going for me, thinking that, hey, I could do something a little bit bigger here. And if the opportunity is not here, I could do something over there, which a lot of Canadians aren't doing. There are some. And that really got everything kind of churning in my head that, hey, man, and I got refocused. I thought I did way better work for the last couple of years or year and a half or whatever it was, when I realized, there was more for me, but also that, I should be confident in myself. And it was those two people who really kind of propped me up. There were other people along the way, but those two really propped me up at a time where I was kind of down on myself and thinking that, maybe this isn't, what I'm cut out for.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And you never know who it's going to be, right? We all go through those times where we sort of hit this rut, and it's sometimes from unexpected places where you get the little boost that you need. Yeah. That's really cool that it was those guys for you. O-Dog, he's all chirp and bark, but he's like a big softy underneath, man. I've experienced that too at the same time. He's actually a shockingly emotional guy.
Yes, he totally is.
Yes, man. It's like a soft center.
He told me that Sean Fitzgerald wrote something about me in The Athletic recently, and he interviewed O-Dog, and he was telling me that was getting kind of emotional when they were talking about me, and he called me the Fred Van Vliet of broadcast, something like that. But I think that was genuine. Sean was he was surprised, and I was like, Sean, I think that's kind of genuine, probably because we have this friendship, And he's seen where I was at and what I was thinking at, 5-6 years ago. And I guess now he sees, where I'm at now, it's just mentally and being happy. So I think that's the kind of friendship we have, and that's the kind of person he is. And again, you know it as well as I do. So you need people like that in your corner. And it wasn't like I was seeking it from them. Both of them saw it in me.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who went out of their way to be like, hey, hang on a second.
That's amazing, man. I have the article. I'm looking for the O-Dog quote, because he basically said he was tearing up in the interview when he was talking about you. So, so he's a good buddy, and he was there for you. That's awesome. All right, I got to get a little dirt from you. You're at TNT now. Yes. You're working with Gretz, working with Biz, working with some of the biggest names in hockey. Yep. How's this experience been for you? And being here in the third round, you've been able to rub elbows with these guys a little bit?
Yeah. So I met, I hosted one show. Gretz wasn't there that day. Call him Gretz now, by the way.
Yeah. No, you're good with that. Yeah. I still call him Mr. Gretzky, but you go ahead with Gretz.
So I met him maybe 2 months into my time at Turner, and it couldn't have been more nice. Yeah. And it was one of those things where we're sitting down and just chatting. And so I haven't had too much interaction with him, but, I saw him and he's nice and talked hockey, talked a lot of Oilers at that time when they're actually struggling at that time. And then I'll give you a funny story. So just 2 days ago, before game one, I go downstairs in the hotel to have coffee. Didn't have enough coffee up here. So I go downstairs, it's like 7:30 in the morning. And who's sitting down there in the lobby? It's just Wayne Gretzky. He's like, come on over. He
waved you over. He gave you the wave.
We sat down. We talked hockey. We talked all sorts of things. And it was just me and Gretz. Me and Gretz just sitting there, and it was great. It's just
so cool
to think of a guy that stature, how normal and cool he is, and people coming up to him and taking photos with everybody. And I don't think you get that with all former athletes or athletes, the way he does it. But last couple of days, we've had team dinners, and he's been there, and it's just great storyteller. Yeah. I'll tell you that. A great, great storyteller. And just all these guys around here, Edzo and Jonesy and everybody, there's like such a wealth of knowledge. So when we're sitting at these dinners, I'm just like soaking it all in.
Oh yeah.
It's such a cool experience, to be able to hear what these guys have gone through, some of the things they used to do. Don Koharski's here. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Things they say to Coho is just I can't repeat it, but it's been fun. It's just been so fun to be part of that culture and part of their group, and everyone it's family here. That's the greatest thing about Turner, and this is not me just selling you on the workout right now. The family environment that they've created here, it's really special. I've never seen anything like it anywhere I've worked. In TSN, we had a really good thing going there too.
Yeah, for sure.
But this thing is really special here. And I'll give you a quick story. The first day I get there, I walk in, it was an inside the NBA night, and you had Shaq riding. We have this area called the Clubhouse where all the seats are and stuff. And it's not just talent. We got makeup artists, runners, director, everyone's just hanging out together. Shaq's riding this the biggest scooter you've ever seen in your life, by the way, riding it down the hallways. You got Chuck, in the makeup room, just talking smack. And like, it's just, and everyone knows everyone's name. It's just started with those guys, with Ernie and Kenny, the level of respect everyone has for one another with these, everybody. It's amazing, man. And so you really feel part of a family. And when you get on the road, as you know, this is a great time to also kind of, like you said, rub elbows and just get some quality time outside of the rink or outside of work.
That's amazing, man. I'm so happy for you. Like when I saw, first of all, when I saw you move over to TNT, I was really excited for you. You get to do a bunch of NBA stuff, which I know is a big passion of yours. I know you love hockey too. Like you are just in this zone right now where your absolute strengths are just being played to in every way right now. And it just feels like you are thriving with a combination of, your passion, but your strengths too at the same time. It just feels like you're so set up for success there, my man.
Thank you. Yeah. And again, ESPN was surreal in a sense because you get to be on Sports Center like that.
Yeah,
just that music, iconic music, and just all the names and everything about it was so impressive. And then you get there, and I needed that step to come to Turner because my jump from TSN to ESPN, I learned a lot. You're bumping into legends every day, working with these legends just across the room. And we had those at TSN too. Don't get me wrong. It's a different just because at ESPN, we're doing everything 24/7 breaking news. And so it's just a lot more of that. But here, like you said, like now I got to focus on basketball and hockey. And I told our VPs here, I'm like, how many American broadcasters, that's their favorite two sports?
Yeah.
It can't be, they're 5. Like
your niche, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I said to them, I said, this is my wheelhouse on both sides. And so it's just been a blessing. Like I've never been happier professionally. And, we'll see how long it lasts, but hopefully a long time now. And my wife's already told me she's going to leave me if I move again. So.
Well, I know it was a big move for you to make that last move, but I know you're a great family man. You have a beautiful family. And I hope, I don't want this to sound patronizing, but I'm so proud of you, man. Like to watch you come in at TSN when you did, have the success you did, make the move down to the States, which is not easy. That is a big deal. And then to make the jump over to Turner and start fresh and be killing it the way you are. We're proud of you, buddy. You're a great Western Canadian broadcaster. We're proud of you. Love to see the success you're having. And I'll see you at the rink. You know what? I can't get you to talk about the series because this is going to run tomorrow and it'll be after game 2. Maybe I'll put you on the spot though. Let's do a little prognosticating. Okay. What's your prediction for game 2 tonight? And we'll see tomorrow. We'll both look like idiots, maybe.
This is the question, by the way, I usually ask you. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I know. I'm probably going to go with the Avs again.
Oh, okay.
I want to say Oilers because I want this to be a great series. I want more McDavid and Draisaitl, and I know they bounce back so well. But I just look at this Avs team and like the waves of offense that they have. If they can just tighten things up. However, the goaltending becomes a big thing here, right?
Yeah. I was gonna say. I'm gonna go. I'll probably go 5-3 Oil. I've watched them bounce back in game 2s all playoffs long. Yep. I think in a few different ways, they'll be a different team tonight. And I do think they'll be able to get the Francois.
Are we going Francois?
I don't know. All us broadcasters need to get together and make a decision. I've heard Francois. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Dreg's called them 3 different things on our web hit today. We don't know. We just need to get that shit streamlined one way or another.
Yeah. Oh, wait to get the backup. Annunen.
Yeah, no.
If we get there, if we're getting to Justus Annunen, then the Oilers are winning. Like then there's a problem then for the Avs, and then yes, your prediction's coming true.
I agree. Nabil, thanks for doing this, man. This was tons of fun. It's so great to see you. And again, congratulations on all your success, my friend.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for at a time where we need positivity in the world. Your podcast is awesome, man. So I appreciate you.
Thanks, buddy. So good to catch up with my good friend Nabil Karim, and boy, neither of us really got that very accurate, those predictions that we made, but hey, it's playoff time. Things can be a little bit crazy. That'll wrap up the podcast, folks. Gonna get on a plane first thing tomorrow. Look forward to landing back in Edmonton, seeing the family, getting set for games 3 and 4. I imagine it's a trepidatious feeling for Oiler fans right now. Down 2-0 against a team that looks like an absolute juggernaut. The Oilers have shown that when they get down, they can summon something. They're going to try and summon something in game number 3. And I can tell you if they don't, it's not going to go well. This Colorado is all kinds of the real deal. Huge thanks to all of our sponsors, DLR Vinyl Products, Park Mazda, Belvan Construction, DeBoer's Golf Shop, and Average Joe's Sports Bar in Sherwood Park. And a reminder to you folks, we do want to hear your stories. Make sure you send an email to our Average Joe's inbox. It's gybpod@gmail.com. That's gybpod@gmail.com. If you have a story about a time in your life where somebody had your back, like Nabil did, like I have, like pretty much everybody has, we do want to hear those stories. And we'll definitely get to reading more of them. So send us an email, gybpod@gmail.com. Have yourselves an awesome day today, folks. Looking forward to getting back home, looking forward to game 3, looking forward to more podcasts. Thanks for your support. This has Got Your Back, presented by DLR Vinyl Products.